Shalom Talmidim. This video is about the definite article in Hebrew, which is the same in Hebrew as it is in English, actually. It's the word the. The definite article functions to provide definiteness or specificity or to identify particularity with regard to a single object, place, anything really, except a proper noun. So, for instance, you wouldn't say I'm going to the Jerusalem. You just say I'm going to Jerusalem. The fact that it has a unique name gives it definiteness already. But objects like the floor or a mountain or house or something like that, they don't have definiteness until they're given definiteness by the definite article, the. So, there is no definite article, there is no indefinite article in Hebrew. There's only a way to identify definiteness. The lack of a definite article and the lack of other specific indicators that something is definite, for instance, a suffix which creates possession, which is another way of identifying definiteness. If it's my house, it's definite because it's mine. I've already identified it. The house of me would be the specific way that Hebrew makes it. So there's no indefinite article. So the lack of a definite article implies indefiniteness. A house, a chair, a mountain, right? There are three signs of the definite article in Hebrew. They are the letter He, followed by a patach. Can you see that? Make it a little bigger. Followed by a patach and a dagish forte in the next letter. Okay? All three of these signs together constitute the definite article in Hebrew. He, followed by a patach with a dagish forte, right, which is a doubling dagish forte in the next letter. So all three of these signs are important and necessary for the definite article to be there. Now, it's important to know all three signs because sometimes you may have a word that just starts with He patach. But the next letter doesn't have a dagish in it. So this is the verb hafach, and it generally has a commas here, but sometimes it may have a patach in a certain form, and you might think, oh, He followed by the patach, that's a definite article. Well, it's not. It's actually part of the root of that verb. There's no dagish forte right there in that letter. Now you have a dagish forte there. Now you're in business that this very well could be a definite article on a noun. Now you can't put the definite article on a verb. So if you know it's a verb, then it's not. But that's neither here nor there at this point. So look for all three signs as a way of helping yourself not get tripped up by letters that might appear to be the definite article but are not. The definite article will attach itself to the word that it's defining. So, for instance, we have the word davar. Davar. It's a word that you know. It was in last week's vocab. It's the word word. So we just have the word davar. Here it has a dagish lene because it's a begad kafat letter, right? dagesh lene, and comets, davar. Now, if there was to be any vowel sound before the dalet, I'm reminding you of the dagesh lene rules for the Begadkafat letters. If there's any vowel sound that precedes the dagesh lene will disappear because it has to follow a closed syllable. It can't follow a vowel. So if we put the definite article on the word davar, the dagesh there is a dagesh forte because it follows an open syllable. It follows a vowel. And so if you have the hey, the patach, and here's your dagesh forte, you know, this is the word or the event or the matter or whatever, not just a word, an event, so on and so forth. Okay, so the primary thing you want to learn is that there are three signs of the definite article. However, as is the case in every language, there are always exemptions to the rule. Or, in this case, it's not necessarily an exemption, but it appears to be an exemption, an apparent exemption, you might say. There are a variety of situations in which the hey will fall off, for instance. Or the dagesh will be rejected if the letter that follows the definite article is a guttural, for instance. Or the patach, therefore, may be lengthened to a comets. So there are a variety of conceivable situations in which one of the three signs may either disappear or be altered in some respect. Let me just give you a couple of examples of that happening. Okay, so we have the word eretz. Eretz. Nice segolit noun. Eretz is the word land or earth or region. Okay? Its first letter is an aleph, which is a guttural. So if you add the definite article to eretz, hey, patach, dagesh, the aleph says, don't give me your dagesh. I don't want it. So the dagesh is therefore what we call rejected. It's a rejected, lonely, depressed, disparate dagesh. What is it to do? It has nowhere to go. Well, the patach is unendingly compassionate and hospitable. And so the patach says to the dagesh, come on over and stay at my place. It'll be fine. We'll have a nice time together, watch a movie, eat popcorn, whatever. So the dagesh goes to the patach's house and lengthens it into a comets. So when the dagesh is rejected, a dagesh forte now, when a dagesh forte is rejected, what happens is compensatory lengthening. The previous vowel compensates by lengthening. And I like to think of it as the dagesh, spending an evening with the patach. Now in this case, for reasons I won't explain here and now, the segol here actually also turns into a comets. So with the specific word eretz, and actually for most segolit nouns, when the definite article is attached, it's a hey with a comets because of the rejected dagesh, and the first segol turns into a comets, so eretz becomes haaretz. Haaretz. Okay? So now, under these specific conditions, the sign of the definite article is hey with a comets. But you now understand the process that happened in order for the hey patach dagesh forte to transform into a hey comets. Right? Okay. Okay, so there's one other situation that I'd like to show you about where one of the things falls off. let's do, let's just do davar again. Davar. Okay. Ha-davar. Ha-davar. The word. Okay. Now, if I attach a preposition to the ha-davar, if I want to not just say the word, but I want to say by the word, or for the word, or according to the word, or with the word, or through the word, or on the word, or anything, if I want to make any prepositional phrase that retains the definiteness of the word, what happens is, and this is, I'm anticipating some things I'm going to say in a future video in this week's lesson about prepositions. It's also in this chapter. But if I take an inseparable preposition, for instance, I'll do the bait, what happens is that the hey is one of the weak letters. And it gets claustrophobic. It can't handle the presence of a bait on the beginning. The normal pointing for an inseparable preposition is just a shava. So a bait with a dagesh lene, because it's a begad kafat, bihadavar, in the word, or through the word, or by the word, whichever you prefer, or whichever context demands. This is the word, but you can't have this situation in Hebrew, because the hey can't stand being between consonants like that. So the hey gets claustrophobic and just poof, disappears into thin air. And so what happens is that the bait preposition replaces the hey. The preposition replaces the hey. And so the difference between in a word and in the word is twofold. The other two signs of the definite article is what tells you that this is definite. There's still a patach, and you would generally have a shava for a preposition, an inseparable preposition. And also, what else? The dagesh forte is still there. So the other two signs of the definite article remain, and in this case, just the hey disappears to make way for the inseparable preposition. There are a couple of other circumstances in which the hey patach dagesh forte is modified, much rarer circumstances, and they're enumerated for you on page 18 with a couple of examples. It doesn't happen that often, just good to know that under certain circumstances that change, whatever it is, happens. So look over page 18, memorize those rules if you'd like, but just be aware of them. So that's the definite article, ba davar, ha davar.